Hi guys, thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe in these mental times. My name's Liv, I'm Neighbourhood's Digital Marketing Coordinator, which you probably would have picked up if you've been watching that pre-roll. Today we're going to be talking about how to use social media to drive business growth. Hope you will enjoy, we've got a lot to get through today. Bit of admin before I start though. One thing I will note is that on the right side of your screen you'll see a chat bar. I've roped in Trav, our founder here at Neighbourhood, to join me today, and he'll be answering any questions you may have. He whips me into line with all of the social media that we do here at Neighbourhood, so he probably knows more than I do, so he'd be your best bet if you have any questions. There'll also be a bit of time at the end, like 5 minutes or so, if you want to ask me any questions directly, call me out on anything. So yeah, hold out for them. And also at the end, I'll be giving you a free tool that will help you in doing all of this. So yeah, without any further faff around, let's get started. So I want to start talking about the importance of planning. So planning, as we all know, is an obvious but completely essential first step toward a goal. But sometimes marketers, as well as just normal people, we tumble into projects instead of planning out what we want to achieve and how we're going to get there. And social media is no exception. I mean, think about it. How many of you have jumped onto a new social media platform and started posting because you think it's the it thing to do? I'd say we're all guilty. I know a few people who've got a TikTok account. Thank God my mum hasn't got one. It's not, it's not good. But getting too far ahead of yourself without understanding the ramifications of your actions on social media is a surefire way to end up on a list with these guys. Obviously, this is a bit of an exaggeration. My dad actually calls the telly an idiot's lantern, but I like to think that social media without strategy is just that. So you'd hope that some of these people just don't know what they're doing, but on social media, it's about more than just what you post. Having a social media strategy is having a detailed blueprint that answers the what, when, how, and why for all the content you post on your business's social pages. So it's basically having a well thought out plan behind what you post and a goal that you want to achieve from it. So it may sound like a lot to think about for just a few likes and maybe a share, but actually having a social media strategy means that you're taking back advantage from your competitors, you're defining your brand, owning your voice, you're showing consistency, displaying personality, and building a solid community. And best of all, this is what I want to touch on mainly today, is that you'll be influencing the purchasing decisions of your target audience on the platforms that you know they're hanging out on. So what are the steps to an effective social media strategy? I'm glad I asked, because that's what we're going to go through today. We're going to start by talking about defining goals and why that's important, choosing the networks, what networks there are, maybe you haven't heard of some or want to know how to use them better. We'll look at the best content for each platform, what we post. We'll then look at ways you can drive growth on these platforms, so our tips and tricks for seeing ROI as part of your social media strategy. We'll then look at how you can schedule content and why that's so important and why I do it specifically. And at the end, of course, I'll give you a link to our free social media calendar, because your social media strategy is only as good as how you organize it. That's what I think. So let's get into it. Before we do, cue a little credibility check. Why should you listen to little old Liv? Well, I started here at Neighbourhood last year as an intern. I'm very grateful and lucky to say that I'm now the marketing coordinator. So I've been here since July 2019, and I now overlook the internal marketing for the agency. So blogging, webinars, video production, blogging, I think I already said that, but mainly social media management as well. This is my 4th webinar now, so 4th time lucky. I've written a lot of blogs about social media itself as well. I've written an ebook. And the main thing I want to get across here is that it's my job to post to Neighbourhood social media accounts every day. So I'm hoping I know a thing or two about the platforms. And a bit of a joke as well, I'm a millennial. So of course I know about social media. I've grown up with it. I also just want to say while we're here, definitely sign up to our next webinar with Dom. I'm sure Trav will just put a link in the chat for you now. But it's all about how to run a successful webinar for first timers. Dom is a brilliant presenter, far better speaker than I'll ever be. So I know that I'm definitely going to be visiting that one, seeing his secrets for holding an engaging webinar. But yes, sign up, you'll be first on the list. But for now, it's all about me. So I'm going to start with my webinar, and let's have a look at defining goals. So why should you set goals? There is no right answer to what your goals should be. They do vary greatly from company to company. And you can see in this graph here that there are 5 main goals that companies have. Some want to increase brand awareness, others want to increase engagement, some want to increase web traffic. But you need to have goals, and you need to have them because they hold you accountable, they guide your budget, and they make you pay attention to the data. But your objectives are contingent on key performance indicators and metrics. I'm going to be running through with you the metrics you should be looking out for in a second. But for now, how should you set a social media marketing goal? Well, first of all, you want to begin with a really broad objective. So why are you even active on social media in the first place? Maybe it's to build awareness for a new product. Maybe it's to engage local followers. Once you've set on that, you then want to look at SMART goals. And if you aren't across SMART goals, biggest buzzword ever, they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals. You then want to identify goal metrics, and this will be a little more contextual in a bit. But identify the metrics you want to assign to those goals. So maybe it's fan count, maybe it's likes, post reach, those sorts of things. You then want to track the results over time. This data is really important in making sure your goals are realistic. Super important, that one. Now, let's have a look at some of these goals in action. So these are the KPIs that you need to be watching that will show you whether or not you're achieving those goals. So say you wanted to start a social media strategy to increase brand awareness. I feel like that's what all of us probably want to do. We want more people to know about us. Brand awareness, by definition, involves making a lasting impression on your target audience. So the indicators you need to be watching out for are things like followers, impressions, traffic, share of voice, and reach. The next goal you might be working towards is generating leads and sales. And this literally means translating your social media presence into dollars and cents for your business. Things you should be looking out for, obviously, sales revenue, lead conversion rate, non-revenue conversions, or email signups. Now, you might want to increase community engagement. And these things, the indicators you need to be looking out for, are sometimes known as vanity metrics, maybe showing that you're popular. Things like clicks, likes, shares, comments, or mentions. This basically just means you're building a relationship with your audience. And while, as I say, they may sound like vanity metrics, it does have a big impact and will show you that your messaging is cutting through the noise and people are wanting to interact with you. Lastly, you want to grow your brand's audience. And I feel like this is a no-brainer. All of us would probably want to do that. The indicators you want to be looking out for here are mentions, followers, share of voice, and engagement rate. Here's the last one, increasing website traffic. So not all of your social media goals have to be tied directly to social media itself. This is one where you'll be able to see real ROI for your social media efforts, seeing the number of people going to your site as a result. The KPIs here are things like traffic, link clicks, conversions, signups, or product trials. Now, one thing to note is that with more than one social media goal, you'll see probably overlapping metrics. And when you think about it, it makes sense, because if you're trying to increase your brand awareness, you're probably also increasing your sales. And I mean, the more you engage positively with your audience, the more they'll be willing to talk about your product without being asked to. So what I gauge from that is that if you take on a social media strategy, you'll reap the rewards in terms of leads and ROI down the line. So while it might be a bit of a faff, go and set those goals. So with that out of the way, it's time to look at the networks. So I feel everyone in this day and age is probably on Facebook. I'd actually be really interested to know if any of you aren't. You're probably living a very relaxed life. But Facebook is a family-friendly, appeals to everyone platform. It's the #1 social media network and millions of monthly Australian users. And it's the best platform to connect with customers and build new relationships. I like to think of it as basically the social home for your business online. And yeah, it's just the best place to connect with your audience. In terms of Instagram, Instagram is only getting bigger. It has 1 billion active accounts per month. It's predominantly for imagery and video if you're not on it. It's not super content heavy, so I wouldn't recommend you making your captions a super long essay or anything like that. But we like to use it as a tool to give our brand personality and humanize our brand. Next up, let's look at Twitter. So not as many users, but still fair chunk, 330 million active users. It's a space for you to share short messages to create awareness. Tweets themselves are restricted to 280 characters, but that's not a bad thing. It means that you're not getting bogged down in word-heavy content. And it also means you don't have the chance to sell to people. You have the chance to share your opinion, which is good. Biggest thing about Twitter is that you building your discoverability on Twitter is all about using hashtags, and I'll get into that a bit later on, but it basically just means that like-minded people can find your content. Now, LinkedIn. I like to think of LinkedIn as the dad of the social medias, because it's basically where business professionals come to find content that will hone and better their skills, and they can be kept abreast of industry information they're interested in. There are 500 million members, so it's a great platform to establish professional thought leadership for your business through your content. And finally, YouTube. YouTube is massive, and particularly massive for us at the moment. We're really focusing in on video marketing for building brand awareness and as a sales enablement tool. I'll go into that a bit later on. But I think YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google, which is crazy. But another thing, Google will actually pay you compensation if your content is original enough. So not only could you be spreading brand awareness, you could also be getting paid to do so. So YouTube is definitely a big one. I've really only touched the surface with the number of social media platforms out there. These are just the 5 that we really focus on because we find they work for us, and I would recommend them to you. But how will you know which one is the right one for you? Well, you first of all want to play a little game of hide and seek and find where your audience is. You need to be on the same platforms as them. This will ensure you're creating the right content for the right people. You'll better understand how to create content that connects benefits with needs, and you'll also increase the conversations on your social media account. You don't just want to be talking to a brick wall. To do this, you can find your highest traffic social networks by using software like the Google Analytics custom reporting tool, because if you've already got a website or a blog, there's a really strong possibility your audience is already sharing your content if it's good. So you'll see which networks give you the most traffic to help you focus your efforts on the social medias that are already generating results for you. As well, you can also check out what your competition is doing. This is a really good one because you and your competitors surely are after the same target audience. So choose 5 to 10 of them, search for them on all of the social media networks you want to be on, and suss out their number of followers on each, and you'll understand which networks your audience may be the most active. Next up, you want to make sure that the platforms you choose will work with you. You don't want to add to an already busy schedule by making it busier. Make sure the networks connect with scheduling tools, because isolated networks, as I say, are only going to add to your time. So we actually use HubSpot to schedule out all of our social posting. I'll go into that a bit later on, but it is, I think, the best. Also, biggest thing, I think, make sure you define strategies for each platform. An example of this is Benefit's social media manager uses Snapchat and Instagram stories for their makeup tutorials, and Twitter solely for customer service. So I think that if you're struggling to figure out which platforms you should be on, or maybe you feel like you're on too many, write out a mission statement for each network, just one sentence that will keep you focused on a specific goal for that platform. Because I feel like if you can't, then you may want to ask yourself whether or not it's worth you being there. Now, let's have a look at the best content for each platform, because it does change between, and it is different compared to your personal Facebook compared to what you might put on your business Facebook. So Facebook itself is very popular for things like quotes, fun facts. I do think that all I see nowadays are memes. They are super popular. Interactive content, you can chuck a poll on your Facebook. Live video is only getting bigger. Social videos are really good at boosting engagement. Blog posts or articles are where we think it's at. We do post a lot of articles that we write onto our LinkedIn and Facebook. We also share interesting articles we find. Maybe Neil Patel has put out a cool blog that we're like, yep, that's sick, he nailed it. We're going to post that to our audience and tell people what he's done. But according to research, the best message for Facebook is a post that's around 111 characters long, contains no hashtags, but relevant keywords, has an emoji, and shares a positive message. In terms of Instagram, behind the scenes content is really good. things that will humanize your brand and give a glimpse behind the curtain of your business, product images and lifestyle content that show your product or service in the real world, quotes that add positivity, and Instagram stories are getting bigger as well. It's a general theme across all of these to be positive in your content, and when you think about it, no one wants to follow an account that's negative. So making things really fun, positive will be good for engagement. Next up, Twitter. Videos are super popular and they're a lot more likely, or 6 times more likely, to be retweeted than photos. Infographics are a really good way on Twitter to share facts and information in a fun format. Visual posts, as I say, drive more engagement. And as I've said, tweet content that evokes positive emotion is more likely to be retweeted. As well, GIFs are really popular on Twitter as well. And LinkedIn. So you want to choose visuals that are clear and compelling and give people a reason to click on your post. You can publish articles like we do. This will also improve your SEO ranking. You can share articles that align to your customer or buyer persona's interests. You can write updates that contain industry insights. But research has also shown that YouTube videos on LinkedIn generate a 75% higher share rate. So that's a really good point if you're thinking about what to post on LinkedIn. In terms of YouTube, how-to videos are my personal favorites. I'm also going on the how to run a webinar. I find them really helpful for me. Live streams, compilations, vlog videos, music videos, pranks, and comedy videos are the big, how many are there? Big 6 for YouTube. So I want to talk now about ways you can drive growth on these platforms, and I'm talking about this because these are tips and tricks that will add some rigor to your social media marketing efforts and impact your bottom line. These are things that we do. Some are things I'd like to start doing more, but I hope that you get some cool facts from these. So to start, you want to, before you start your social media marketing, find your content creation strengths. So maybe you already have access to the HubSpot CMS, for example, and you're able to publish blogs really easily. That's great. Think about what other apps and software you have access to. Maybe you have an Adobe account and you're able to make really cool images in Photoshop. Think about whether you're a better writer or designer. I know we do this here at Neighborhood. I'm definitely a better writer than I am designing. I can't take a picture or do anything to save my life. So we certainly split out our those roles very well. Maybe you have a really cool camera. We have one just behind me. And that's why we started doing video marketing. So maybe you might try your hand at that. Also, ask your team members these questions. Someone might be harboring a secret Premiere Pro certification you don't know about. It might be able to help you on your video marketing efforts. Also, what social media do you enjoy doing yourself? Maybe you're really good at designing Instagram stories. I know I'm not. I would love to be able to be, but that will be really good in terms of mimicking it for your business. Maybe you've got a wicked sense of humor and you might be really good at tweeting for your business and getting heaps of retweets. Or maybe you're more about being helpful and you might be really good at writing blogs. As well, maybe you were really good at show and tell at school, or you're really good at speaking in the office. So maybe you might want to host a podcast or a webinar. Next up, and this is something we really focus on here at Neighborhood, is to establish a writing voice and tone. And this is all about cutting through the noise and differentiating yourself from everyone else out there. We may not realize it, but every time you talk, write, respond, connect with someone as a brand, you're exercising your voice. So you want to think about how can you stand out from the rest. One way to do this and to find your social media brand voice is to find your adjectives. So think about your brand as though it has a personality. If it were a celebrity or a public figure, who might it be? Imagine them, and then think about the adjectives that best describe your vibe or your tone. So it might be bold, confident, casual, savvy, funny, those sort of things. Next up, and this is something I drill into everything I write, is to write how I talk. Obviously, taking out the swearing and the number of likes I say, but avoiding jargon and things that just alienate people who don't understand what you're talking about makes you sound a lot more real and human. If you do use jargon a lot in a lot of your content, you'll alienate people and make them feel dumb, and you don't want to do that. Also, drop the drama, stop with the clickbaity content. Far too many brands and marketers sensationalize their headlines for clicks. And while it may increase your click rates for a bit, pretty soon people will stop interacting with you when they realize that you're not legit and you're not walking the walk. Also, big thing, right from the reader's perspective. I want you to think about that person, you know, I know we all know someone like this, who only talks about themselves and how frustrating they are and how much you don't want to be around them. If you constantly only talk about you as a brand, that's what you're being. And I know that you don't want to be that. Also, write with your buyer persona in mind. What are your buyer persona's pain points? What do they find interesting? What do they want to hear from you? Also, be consistent across channels. This isn't something we struggle with because I'm across most of the channels, but say if you were doing your Facebook captions and Jimmy was doing your tweets, and Jimmy was making your tweets really fun and funny, and your Facebook captions were really meek, you'd look a little bit disconnected and it wouldn't look overly integrated. Now, you want to include links back to your site. That image there used to be a GIF. I'm not sure why it's working. It looks a bit out of context now, but it was a GIF about being sneaky, because this is basically a way to get sneaky website traffic. So if someone is asking you, comments on your post, hey, what time do you open? Obviously send them a message back, but you can link out to your contact page on your website. If someone asks, can you help me with this problem? You can link out to your support page. So this is a really easy way to see website results in terms of ROI from what you're doing on social media. On that, you can also include links to landing pages. So say you've created an ebook or a tool. You can publish the link to that ebook, the ebook's landing page, to your social media. And this will turn your social traffic into leads and customers. But it's not as easy as just that. On this landing page, you want to make sure that you welcome social media visitors and tell them who you are and what you do. You want to include the same photo in that landing page as you use on the ad. Ensure the content mirrors the ad content and provide clear value proposition, keep the text simple and concise, and also consider where the visitor is coming from. Now, this is a really good way to improve ROI as well, is to include client testimonials on your social media. As humans, you're a human, I'm a human, we get it. We look for and act on social proof in all areas of our life, and testimonials are a form of social proof. They serve the same purpose as other types, but the one difference is you get to choose what testimonials and social proof your audience sees. So whether you're using social media to promote your content or push a product or service, testimonials will help you boost clicks and conversions. Our office neighbors, Ply, they're our friends, they do this really well. Just a really simple quote, it's been designed really well, and it works. Simple but effective. Now, speaking of, user-generated content is another type of social proof. I know 100% before I buy any clothes online, I have to go onto the company's Instagram to see what the clothes look like on a real person, because every time I order something without doing this, it looks completely awful on me. So when I'm seeing these pictures, I feel a kind of honesty I can connect with, and it makes me want to buy more. A really good example of this is ASOS's campaign, As Seen on Me. They're using the hashtag As Seen on Me, and they're featured on this Instagram page, their customers. So I strongly recommend you do this to boost the number of people who are buying from you. Next up, this might seem kind of underground and maybe a bit unimportant, but using an attractive cover photo, whether you have the opportunity, is a great opportunity for you to promote your stuff. You might promote what you do, promote a product or service, show off your team, the people you help, promote a sale, a lead magnet, or even promote an event like we do with our webinars, if you've seen our Facebook page. Something I only recently noticed that I think is really, really cool. If you do have a Facebook page, there's a button, and you'll see it in this picture just here. Ours says send a message, but this can be used as a customizable CTA, because if you click on this and edit that button, you can change it to anything from contact us now, book a meeting, those sorts of things. So I think that's a really cool way of using it almost as a landing page. Now, again, dodgy GIF there, but you want to perfect your bios. Your bio is the first interaction a customer has with your brand, so you really want to make sure it's engaging and will draw people in. You want to, in a manner of characters, get across who you are, who you help, what your solution is, add a bit of personality in there, maybe show off your accomplishments, and always include a link back to your site. So for each platform, in terms of Facebook bios, they're very easy to overlook, if I'm honest, because you don't really see them as much. But if someone is looking for, if they're on your Facebook and looking to find more about your company's purpose, they'll head straight there. You only have 155 characters, unfortunately, so you have to keep it brief, but make every word count. So add some passion, say something about your mission. You need to make an impact. And my favorite example from one of my favorite brands is Patagonia's. We're in business to save our home planet. Perfect. In terms of Instagram, you're allowed 150 characters, so even fewer. So you really need to make it count in this case, in clear, concise, engaging messaging. But you can have a little bit more fun with your bio here. You can include things like emojis without coming across as unprofessional. As well, if you have any current campaigns that have specific hashtags, include that hashtag. Also, again, include a link to your website. Perfect example that follow this to the T is Nike, because what can't they do? Theirs is, if you have a body, you are an athlete. Hashtag just do it at nike.com. Couldn't have read it better myself. In terms of LinkedIn, I'm sure we all have a personal LinkedIn if you're a business person, but we know that having a summary is essential to get found, but having a company bio is even more important. This is where people will come to business network, so you want to be taken seriously. You're allowed way more characters here, 2,000 to be exact, so you've got a lot more room for maneuver. You want to make sure the language is professional but not dry. Break up your bio into short paragraphs, but at the core of your bio, tell the audience what your company does and why you're a unique player in the industry. And a really good example here is Lululemon. Next up, Twitter. Twitter is an entirely different ballgame than most platforms. Tweeting is all about making an impact with every single one, and it's no different with your bio. You've only got 160 characters, so a few more, but not that many, so you need to get your point across. Keywords are a really big part about searchability on Twitter, so it's important to integrate them into your bio. You need to use relevant hashtags in your Twitter bio. This will also help with your discoverability. And as well, add some humor, because it's one of the funny social media platforms. So an example of a brand that does this well, it's not overly, humorous, but it's a very good bio. It's never too late to pursue your vision, hashtag night jogger, and this is Adidas. A good example of a funny one I found, that's not really a brand, but don't quote me on this, but I think Robert Downey Jr.'s is You Already Know Who I Am, which I thought was very funny. I might use that on mine. On hashtags though, I've said hashtags are a crucial part of social media marketing. They're the best way to boost discoverability, increase traffic, expand reach, and increase your audience. But there's a catch. You have to use a certain number to make it work. So for example, Twitter has a small character count anyway. So we would suggest you only use 2 hashtags per tweet for the best engagement. For Facebook, use 2 hashtags, but try using 1 trending hashtag and 1 custom hashtag that's pertinent to your brand or your company or what you're talking about. Instagram allows up to 30 hashtags, and I don't know about you, but whenever I see this many hashtags under a post, I feel a bit cringy. The highest level engagement will mean about 11. LinkedIn, again, there's no limit, which is crazy, but it's recommended that you limit it to a maximum of 5 hashtags, because if you use any more, LinkedIn might pick up on you as being a bit spammy, and you don't want that. Next up, getting to a bit of a sciencey bit, but timing is everything. You need to know when your audience wants to hear from you across each of these channels. So obviously it's really smart to know and learn the best times to post, but you also obviously want to make sure that you're active at these times as well, so that you're able to respond to comments and when people are going to be engaging with you. So in terms of Facebook, the best day is Wednesday. specifically at 11 or between 1 to 2. The worst day is Sunday. I don't know about you, but I don't want to think. I don't want to think about the week ahead on Sunday. I'm off everything. I'm trying to just ignore it. Monday will never come. In terms of LinkedIn, the best times are Wednesdays and Thursdays. Again, worst day is on Sunday. I can't imagine going on LinkedIn on a Sunday. In terms of Instagram, Wednesday is a very popular day, but Wednesday and Friday. Worst day is Sunday again. And for Twitter, best days are Wednesday and Friday, and the worst day, to change it up, is Saturday. Now, this is my personal favorite one, and the best way I think you'll be able to see return on investment, and it's to create shoppable posts. This is a relatively new feature of Instagram, a native integration, but it's Instagram users basically can now complete their entire buying journey from discovery to checkout without ever having to even leave the Instagram app. I can't tell you how many times I've looked through my discovery page on Instagram, I've seen clothes I like, and I'm just buying them, and I'm not even going out to their site. It's terrifying, but it's good for you if you have an e-commerce store. So if you do, I 100% recommend that you get on this train, because you'll be missing out on a whole world of ROI. If not, next up, interact with your audience. This is a big one. You want to ensure that you're engaging with everyone, because involving your audience as much as possible to build a relationship is the best way you can boost sales. And that might sound like it doesn't work, but I've got the graph to prove it. And you can see here that posting videos and pictures works pretty well, sharing industry content, pretty good. But responding to questions and comments is the best social selling behavior that makes consumers more likely to buy. So respond to people. Also use video. We've done a webinar on video marketing. We are so on it. We love video marketing, but I want to say use video on more than just YouTube, because research has shown that the moment a video is viewed by a consumer, lift happens across ad recall, brand awareness, and purchase consideration. Some types of videos that drive sales are things like videos that tell a story behind your product, videos that showcase your product, and videos that feature promotions. A really good example of the first one there, videos that tell a story behind your product, I would check out Patagonia's YouTube channel. I do think they're very good. Can't stop going on about them. They're very good. Next up, you want to go full Goldilocks and find the perfect amount of everything using the right content mix. You want to make sure your content reflects the mission statement you assign to each social profile, so that everything you post is working towards your business goals. So you might decide that 50% of your content will drive traffic, 25% will be from other places, 20% will be all about generating leads, and 5% will be about your culture. But if you're starting from scratch, I would recommend you look at the 80-20 rule or the social media rule of thirds. The 80-20 rule means that 80% of your contents will inform, educate, or entertain, and 20% will directly talk about you. The rule of thirds means that 1/3 of your content will promote your business, convert readers, 1/3 will share ideas, and 1/3 will be personal interactions with your audience. Next up, now we're going to be talking about scheduling content and why I love scheduling. It seems pretty obvious to schedule your content because it will save you time, ultimately. My favorite thing, though, is that it means you can reach audiences at peak times, even when you aren't around, and it will show that you're being consistent. The second one there is particularly important for this morning. I'm not sure if you saw, but on Facebook, 2 posts went out. And obviously I didn't really have time. I was too busy running through this and checking everything was all fine. So I didn't have time to go on Facebook and schedule some stuff. So I made it look like we had a full webinar social media team and had some posts go out right before this went on and at 8 a.m. this morning, just as I was arriving. And really, it was just me 2 days ago when I couldn't be bothered doing it this morning. So how can you schedule them? You have heaps of options. Obviously, heaps of companies have clued in onto this and been like, no one wants to spend time every day scheduling out posts for that day. But my favorite social media scheduling platform, and we have used others, but as a HubSpot partner, we use the social media scheduling tool in there. It is the most intuitive scheduling platform, I believe. Publishing tools, you can create social posts from inside the tool itself. You can monitor all of the interactions, all of the engagement, and you can also report on all the important metrics. So you can see how traffic has changed over time, whether engagement's going down. You can get so granular with this, and there's no way you can be doing social media wrong if you're on this platform. This used to be a GIF as well, but if you'd like a bit more of a run through of what the social media platform can do in HubSpot, I'm happy to send you a video of me playing around with it. But it would be all too easy if we could just schedule everything in HubSpot. And of course you can schedule videos in HubSpot as well. But we like to schedule and optimize videos to Facebook and YouTube a little bit differently. And this is all, again, about adding rigor to our social media strategy and making sure we're seeing ROI from our efforts. So we actually use the 23 platform to house our videos and schedule videos. So you can see for the videos I put up to promote the webinar, I would schedule it from inside the 23 platform. And there's a link just there if you want to check out 23. It's a sick platform. I strongly recommend you get on it. Then once I've done that, I'm able to head into Facebook, go into Manage Playlists and the Content Library. In here, I can add in tags, I can add in subtitles, I can choose a location and a speaker. And this might sound, and I know it did for me, like kind of pointless, like why should I do that? But there's small things that affect Facebook's algorithm and will increase your video SEO. They'll boost traffic to your video and encourage more of a likelihood of conversion. I recommend for this bit, maybe you screenshot this, because these are steps that might be a bit of an overload for the end of a webinar. Next up, YouTube. How do we schedule them? Again, I'll push the video from 23 to YouTube, but the biggest thing we found this year, and I think one of the best bits of software we found, is the TubeBuddy browser extension. If you are doing video marketing and you're not using TubeBuddy, I would strongly recommend that you get it. It's given us massive support in running our channel and ensuring that all of our videos are optimized for SEO and viewership, and basically just growing our brand on this one platform. So once I've pushed the video to YouTube from 23, you'll see down below in YouTube Studio, I'm able to see the TubeBuddy drop-down menu. From in here, I can put the video into a playlist. So we've got playlists in terms of like HubSpot updates, agency updates, marketing, sales, and service. And this also just helps people finding our videos. In here as well, I can add an end screen to the video. I can add cards that will have people link out to other videos during the video they're watching. And I can also add tags to the video to boost the SEO. You'll see in the top picture over here that TubeBuddy also has this Videolytics portal that will show up on every video we've posted. So it will tell me what maybe I've missed or any other best practices I can heed to make sure that that video is the best it can be. So I didn't know anything about video marketing before we started this, and it just tells you everything you need to do. You don't need to have some crazy certification in video. TubeBuddy will tell you everything. So you can see it has YouTube SEO tools, in-depth analytics, and productivity tools. There is a free version. Obviously, the number of tools you get will change based on your subscription, I believe. But it will all help to improve your video SEO, grow your audience, and essentially just get your channel in front of more eyeballs so you have more of an opportunity to sell. So now I want to talk about a free social media calendar that I want to give you, because I do believe that your social media strategy is only as good as the way you organize it. So this is a calendar that I use as well, and it's a really extensive and detailed calendar to organize all of your upcoming content offerings. So I'll get Trav to chuck it up here and just click on that link, and you'll have a method to maintain structure and consistency in your content output. And you can use it month on month to help you stay organized. So let me know how you go with that. Of course, we offer social media marketing services here at Neighborhood, but I'm giving you the opportunity here to do it yourself. So let me know how you go. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. So all in all, a social media strategy needs to prove you're being active about what, why, how, and when you post. And hopefully following our best practices for social media, your efforts won't go to waste. You'll hopefully see results in boosting sales, search engine rankings, conversion, traffic, and gain important customer insights you won't find anywhere else. So the only question left to ask is why not have a social media strategy? So that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for coming along. I really appreciate your time today. I know there's literally so much happening right now, so I really appreciate it. If you have any feedback, I'd also really appreciate it. I think this will automatically take you to a feedback form. So thanks very much for that. But yeah, unless anyone has any other questions, I'll stick around. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, Aniko. Thank you.